Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, this is BestInSlot, and tonight I'm going to show you something pretty bloody exciting. Emphasis on the word bloody. This is a fan remake of the original Dino Crisis made by Team Arklay, which is a group of 5 people doing this absolutely unfunded, just out of sheer love for the game and the series. They are remaking Dino Crisis in Unreal Engine 4. What we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at 3 of the longer gameplay slices they've already shown off. They've been showing content for about a year now. I'm going to link their YouTube channel down below, however. So if you want to see all this gameplay without me blathering over the top of it, and I am going to blather over the top of it, please don't get annoyed at me, do go check out Team Arklay's YouTube page, linked down below. It's definitely worth checking out. I'm going to show you 3 different videos tonight, but they do have plenty more than that lying around, including one recent one that's talking about the future of the game. All that said then, let's get started. So, this is the oldest of the 3. Bear in mind, this is still heavy in development, long way to go. 5-man indie team, unfunded, blah 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 blah. Still, very exciting stuff to come. We're going to see 4 different species, well 3 species of dinosaur and a cheeky little prehistoric creature other than that as well. You will see throughout this whole thing that the environment work is essentially done by the looks of it. A lot of the corridors and outside spaces seem to be finished. Even some of the more technical areas you would experience later in the game seem to be finished. It's more the things like the characters and the cutscenes, and I'm sure some of the gameplay mechanics that still need a little bit of love. Like this, for example. This would be the opening cutscene where they're on the helicopter ready to do the drop. Of course, for one of them, it doesn't end that well.
You're not gonna believe this. He was attacked by some kind of dinosaur.
I thought I could shut up for that at the very least. Nice little dramatic opening there with the narration from the start of the game playing over the dialogue, playing over the top. And here we get a really cool look at the actual combat. There's a raptor there with a glimpse of the UI. We're going to see that again later on, so don't fret too much. I said I'm not here to do frame by frame breakdowns, we'll be here all night, but I want to talk about the game. So the team is developing this. They've said that they are going to continue developing it until either as the main hall, by the way. This is the entrance to the actual building, although when you get here the first time, that entrance is locked. There's the famous red lines, the lasers. As you're running along, you can flick those on and off and it blocks the progress of the dinosaurs. Very helpful. We can see the ventilation shaft. This is the room where Rick is monitoring all the monitors and trying to help you out throughout the game. Hopefully the ventilation shafts work. For those who don't know, in Dino Crisis you can hop up into ventilation shafts. I remember that dude as well. On the right is the rest of the room. He's in there, he's got like one of the keycard things with him as well. It's so cool seeing these areas that we've experienced for so long in what is a classic game just brought to life like this. It's really cool. And as you can see, like I say, I think the basal environments and the atmosphere is very on point.
That'll be your job, Regina. Restore the power to the underground.
It's right from the start of the game. That big drop off to the left, which I think in the original was more engine limitation, but nice to see it back. And there's our big old Rex. And there, one of my favourite, if not my favourite scenes in the entire game. The Rex bursts through the window. Now, I'm just going to pause it for a sec to talk about this, because you may recognise that Tyrannosaurus Rex. The developers, like I say, they're an unfunded 5-man team. And for the dinosaurs in the game, what they've done is they've taken dinosaurs from other games and modified them. This is going to be released for free on PC. They're not ever going to make any money from it. It's not going to be on Steam either. I assume it'll just be a download out there in the world. So they've decided to, take the logical route and go for this. And some people may dislike that, and that's totally understandable, and I would completely understand that. However, unfunded. It was a 4-man team, actually, until very recently. They have to take some shortcuts here and there. I believe that is the Primal Carnage Tyrannosaurus Rex, unless I'm totally crazy. It definitely has a look of the Primal Carnage Rex to me, but I'd love to hear your comments down below. I couldn't quite recognise the Raptors, which definitely aren't Primal Carnage, so when they pop up again, let me know what you think. But this is one of my favourite scenes in Dino Crisis. She goes in, there's the dude lying on the floor who gets ripped away by the Rex bursts through the window, she kind of have to shoot at it or run past it, and it's the first introduction you really get to the T-Rex, other than your unfortunate comrade getting ripped apart at the start of the initial loading cutscene for the game. Look at that! Very cool. So, we're going to go check out the next video. Okay, I'll look at our third dinosaur there. There's our Compsognathus. They will pop up a little bit later on as well. There's our Raptors. Nice, close detail there. So if you recognise those, do let me know in the comment section. Of course, you can go back and pause and stuff like that. Love, again, the atmosphere this game is trying to generate, just like the original Dino Crisis. Of course, there are some changes. There's going to be UI, which we'll see a lot more of in a second. The camera view, for example, is like this. It's an over-the-top, more typical third-person shooter, you know, Gears of War, stuff like that, kind of camera angle, rather than the tank controls and angle of the, that's so cool, of the original game. So it's going to modernise the game in a very real way. When Regina run? Dodge that away, the raptor tumbles over to the side. Love that. She still has that kind of awkward gait that she had in the original game. The big elevator that's outside. I don't know what else I would call these things specifically, but I do recognise all these scenes, and it's really cool to see them come to life. And like, just to emphasise again, you can see just how well made and completed a lot of these environments are. It feels like a lot of it now is character development. I know no other characters have been made really, polished and stuff like that. I want to see some vent gameplay. Vents is the highlight of Dino Crisis. Rex coming out. The Rex here, I will say, looks different. This is, by the way, it's definitely different actually. The Rex here looks different than the Rex we saw in the last gameplay video. The last one looked very Primal Carnage to me. That looks different. I don't know if it is a unique model or they bought one in the asset store, or if it's a model from a different game. But it definitely looks like a different Tyrannosaurus Rex to me, which is pretty cool. The Raptor got absolutely ruined. It has no lower jaw. Poor guy. There's our Pteranodon, so our fourth and final of the prehistoric creatures we're going to experience. One of the more nerve-wracking scenes in the game. I definitely didn't sneak around when I played it. I darted around and hoped for the best, basically. Apparently that's a bad idea. Beautiful explosion graphics, and my favourite part of all these videos right there. We'll go back to it briefly in a second. But, so recently Capcom actually filed a trademark for Dino Crisis, and people, myself included, got a little excited because we've been looking for a Dino Crisis remake for a while. I don't really think that's what the filing necessarily means. They do have to keep on top of their trademarks and stuff like that. We do see another character here, by the way. This bit has been... Oddly enough, this bit is very well developed compared to a lot of the game. Regina herself looks a little funky at times, but this bit's looking fantastic. Look at it. Our first-person VR sort of mode, and there he is. So, they filed for the trademark. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. They do have to sustain these trademarks. However, we know they've been rebooting a lot of the old Resident Evils. You know, 2 and 3 recently got remakes. And they're currently working on a remake of Resident Evil 4. Now, will Resident Evil 5 get the same treatment? I would be a little bit suspicious that 4 will be the last one to get the modern reboot, as it were. Maybe then they go back to Dino Crisis. I don't think we'll see it until after Resident Evil 4 remake. But I think it could happen. I think Dino Crisis could be next in line after that. That's my personal theory. I want to go back to the... what was that scene I want to go back to? This one. I really, really like this. For two reasons. One, the atmosphere, the fog, or the smoke, the steam, the alarms, you know, the rotating red light, very dramatic, very horror. And there are benefits to having this third-person over-the-shoulder camera. It does elicit more of a close feeling with your character. It pulls you into the action because you're closer to the perspective of your character, which is why first-person games are a thing in the first place, really. It limits your view a bit more as well, which is always, you know, a little spooky. Regina can't see behind herself right now, whereas in the original game you could. All that's really cool, but we also get a good look at the UI. There it is. I'm not sure how I feel about the UI. I guess it's not really meant to be a Resident Evil game, but for me, just having a health bar like on the page is very anti-Resident Evil, but that's neither here nor there. What I really like is that the Raptors are bullet sponges. Basically, just like in the original Dino Crisis, you have to blast away at Raptors with the pistol for half a bloody hour before they do anything. And that is honestly exactly what Dino Crisis was like. Right, so we have one more video to go check out. They've even got the kill animation for that. So cool. So this is the shortest, but also most recent gameplay sliver we have for the game. I don't think we see much new in this one, but hey. We see yet more environmental work. A little bit more detail now. There's stuff on the floor, vines and stuff like that. it looks very detailed, very brought to life. It's going to offer a level of detail as well that the original, given the limited technology, never could. Sometimes you lose something in horror by showing too much, but I think, look at that, hops up onto the vehicle, hops off again and chases her down. Very cool. Or kind of stalks her, I guess. Yeah, it should probably be a bit angrier than it is. There we go. Now, as we know, the raptors aren't dead until there's a pool of blood. I wouldn't trust it, Regina. I wouldn't trust it, I'm just saying. Okay, so that's only really it's a baby sliver, to say the least. But this is exciting. Wait for it. Ooh, there it is. New extensive gameplay coming soon. So, exciting, right? It is worth keeping in mind. This is a fan-made project, zero funding. Until recently, it was a 4-man team. They've recently-ish added a 5th. You know, it's not going to look as good as an official Capcom remake would. However, it's worth also noting that at this point, it's been 20 years or something, the series has basically been put on ice. We got the terrible Dino Crisis 3, the terrible and bizarre Dino Crisis 3 on the original Xbox. And we got a slightly strange also light gun game, which is sort of also Dino Crisis 3 / Dino Crisis 4. The series has been oft neglected. So, whilst it may not have the quality of a Capcom game, because of course it bloody wouldn't, at the end of the day, Capcom hasn't given us anything. So, this is what we have, and I think it's really cool. You know, they're doing this, it's a labour of love, a labour of passion. And that's it. There's no monetary gain to be gained here. There's no bonus for them. There's no plus. They can't make any money of it anyway because it's copyrighted material and they're using other assets and all this kind of jazz. So it is just a labour of love to give us, the people, a Dino Crisis remake. And I think that is very, very cool. I really do. Big shout out to Arklay Studios for being awesome. I'm going to link their YouTube down below, as I say. Do go check out the other videos. Check out these ones with the volume up, with the headset on, with the lights off, and, you know, without me blathering over the top. Definitely go experience them how they were meant to be experienced. I just wanted to bring some attention to this. Just to get ahead of this as well. People worried that this video may lead to Capcom taking this down and stuff like that. I wouldn't worry about that. The trailers already get like 100,000 views. You know, the videos are doing really well over on Arklay's. This isn't going to blow the roof off it or something like that. This is already out there and well known, and I just want to highlight it for the handful of you who may not know about it, basically, because it's really cool and I'm so excited. I cannot wait. And of course, when that new gameplay comes out, we'll take a look at it right here on the channel in an assumedly shorter video. So go give Arklay's your love. If you enjoyed this video, if you're excited for a Dino Crisis remake from either Arklay's or hopefully Capcom, please do hit the like button. It really does help me out. It makes you a super cool person. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. And I will see you lovely folks in the next video. Thank you so much for joining me. Cheers. Much love as always. Bye-bye.